Quickly before I get started, I want to send a special shout out to my boy Make Me Bad 35 for making me laugh so hard that I shit the bed. Twice. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Alternative Week and the first official review of Alternative Week. And welcome to Raw His... No? Okay. Well, anyways, Alternative Week 2011 is going to get started here in 2011 because it's 2011! And 2011 means it's the 20-year anniversary of Nirvana's Nevermind. That's right, 20 years ago this landmark alternative release was dropped, and it was one where it was selling 400,000 copies per week in stores by the time Christmas came in the year 1991. And here's the thing. Their label was only hoping that it would sell 250,000 records overall, which would have matched a Sonic Youth record entitled Goo. Goo Goo Goo. But anyways, Nirvana's Nevermind, kind of a different animal, different beast altogether. This was an album that followed up Bleach, which was released a couple of years ago on the independent, or a couple years prior, should I say. Yeah, just a couple years ago. That's awesome. A couple years prior on Sub Pop, the band decided to make a move, and the move definitely paid off. Wider audience, not to mention this album exploded. Smells Like Teen Spirit was released in September as a single, and really picked up momentum as radio stations and MTV both started to play it consistently throughout their music day, their song cycles, and their video cycles. That was back whenever MTV actually played music videos. Remember that? Most of you probably don't because you're too young. But it was before the hills. But this is one of those albums that really came forth and really transcended all that we knew about alternative. Not to mention this is an important record to start off Alternative Week, because we're starting kind of right in the middle of alternative music, because this is the album that really jettisoned this particular genre into the mainstream, into the limelight, where it was being focused on by every individual. Right after this, you saw a ton of bands from the Seattle scene, the grunge area, the grunge capital of the world really picked up, and every single label was attempting to get as many bands as they could to have the next Nirvana and really be on that train, because this was an explosion. This was something that was really going to take the world by storm for the next couple of years that followed the 1991 release of Nevermind, and also concurrently the release of 10 by Pearl Jam, which did not reach its highest level of successes until the year 1992. Not going to do 10, mainly because I did that last year. You guys can't see the review because this is a new fucking account. Isn't YouTube grand sometimes? But this is an album that's not just all about Smells Like Teen Spirit, it's all about the raw sound. It's something that's a little bit more commercially acceptable as compared to the Bleach record, and really, whenever you consider what Nirvana was able to output afterwards with the In Utero disc, this is easily their softest record. It was the one that was supposed to be a little bit more commercially sound, which is a little bit predetermined by the way in which it was mixed by Andy Wallace. And this is just one of those kind of unique moments where the band wasn't exactly 100% satisfied with the way that the final production and the mix was done. However, it was the production and the mix that really gave this album that format, that really gave a nice little bridge between the rawness that you could hear in what would be very punk-inspired grunge music, and the very polished side, which we would hear later on with other bands as well, and would really make this grunge thing last a couple of years and experience heavy success to the point where we have post-grunge bands today, and you still know all of these names. You know the names, and I don't have to repeat them. A lot of you have cited that you wanted to see reviews of these particular artists in specific. However, Nevermind was a record also that was a 12-track and 42-minute long affair that really shined in the fact that it did not overstay its welcome. These are 12 solid tracks from womb to tomb. This is an amazing album whenever you think about it, and this is coming from a guy who's not a very huge Nirvana fan. This is a guy who was a big fan of Nirvana back whenever I was 13, but I've probably not listened to Nevermind in roughly about 5 or 6 years in its entirety. And going back and doing that for this particular week for you guys, because you guys requested it, was definitely a treat for me. Not to mention the fact that it's the 20-year anniversary, kind of cool as well. Overall, this is a record that is probably one of the pinnacles, one of the monoliths of the alternative music genre. Now, last year, and in the review that you can see here on my account, the Mother Love Bone Apple review, I consider that to be a much better album, not to mention I think that the band could have been more successful than Nirvana. However, since that didn't happen, we have to really go with what history has given us. We have to understand just how important that Nevermind really is. These are songs that bridge the gap between teenage angst and just absolute fun. You're going to find little subtle undulations of lyrics that are going to make you laugh, such as "I'm so horny, but that's okay, my will is good." You're going to find just words that a lot of people didn't really use all that much, such as libido. How many times have you used the word libido in your life? My libido is cool. My libido is cool. My libido is poppin'. Blah, blah, blah. But Nirvana's Nevermind will forever be etched in stone as one of the most essential albums of music in general. Music now that has been out, we've listened to recorded sound since the 1940s and perhaps even earlier, and this is one of those albums that you definitely have to hear before you die, especially if you are right now a very young fan. If you've not heard of Nirvana, either that or if Nirvana is a band that you're like, so many people like them, I probably wouldn't. Listen to this record. This is a record that even if you're not a Nirvana fan, nor do you really don't think that there's anything for them to offer you, that's definitely something that has something to offer everybody. It's not just the singles that are on this record, if you remember. It's not just In Bloom. It's not just Smells Like Teen Spirit or Come As You Are or Lithium. There's other great songs on here such as Drain You or Territorial Pissing. Something in the Way is a fantastic track as well. I was always a big fan of On a Plane. And Polly is, of course, one of those tracks that, well, some people love, some people hate. Most people end up really loving. Just really casual lyrics done in a very unique way, documenting something very strange. And it's just a bizarre album that you would consider to be a benchmark for all of alternative music. However, this is an album that's a fitting crown. It's diverse enough where it's going to really capture your spirit and imagination, not to mention it's going to keep you involved and in tune. However, it's also straightforward enough where you're not going to feel as though you're being alienated or abandoned on any track. This is something where you can remain focused throughout the entire endeavor, and it's an album that really shines forth in Kurt Cobain's just landmark, and not to mention fantastic stage presence and vocal presence. This is something where I have to give Cobain a lot of credit, even though many times I would be the one to make Shotgun references. Shotgun Rain, oh na na, what's my name? Oh na na, Shotgun Rain. Be that as it may, Nirvana's Nevermind, definitely important, not to mention hugely essential for any alternative fan. Definitely listen to it. I'm sure you guys have. But if you haven't in a while, do it again. This is definitely one of those records that you should listen to every so often, just to be reminded of what alternative music was in the early 1990s. Happy 20 years to all the boys that are left over in Nirvana, Dave Grohl, and everybody else. And to you guys, stay tuned for the next album review here in Alternative Week 2011. This is Cover Killer Nation saying, "I'm on a plane!" And I can't complain.